Deduction inflates home values and rewards those who take out loans rather than paying off debt? If so, would you support a plan to phase it out? I actually support a plan to phase out a couple of things. First off, Freddie and Fannie. That's where I would phase it out, which is to, right now, Freddie and Fannie covers, I don't know what the number is, it's like, what is it, 900,000? What's the number on a home that can be, that's what's called a conforming loan? Is that all it is? I thought it was higher than that. Okay, 417,000. That's a conforming loan and Freddie and Fannie can purchase. We need to, over time, 5 years, whatever it is, phase that down over time and then phase it out so Freddie and Fannie are not involved in that market. I have to tell you this little story. It happened just about a month and a half ago. I was in Old Forge, Pennsylvania. Everybody knows where that is, right? It's outside of Wilkes-Barre. Okay, you know where that is? All right, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So it's outside of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and I'm out there, and this guy walks up to me. He looks familiar to me. I sort of recognized him. He was a home builder, but I didn't remember his name. But he came up to me. He said, I haven't seen you in 5 years. He said, but I had to come up to you and tell you you were right. I said, okay. He said, well, you may not remember this, but I do. He said, I was head of the Pennsylvania Home Builders. And I came into your office in it was late 2005, early 2006. And we were pushing to expand Freddie and Fannie's mortgage portfolio so we could build more houses. So they could, increase the cap, allow them to build it, and you were against it. And you said, Freddie and Fannie is in trouble. I, at that time, signed a letter. I was one of 24 people to sign the letter saying we had to do reform or that we were going to be in big trouble with Freddie and Fannie. I wanted to limit their portfolio, not expand it. I wanted to contract it. Now the home builders, as you can imagine, I'm a conservative Republican. They were some of my biggest fans. Well, we basically had a little knockdown, drag out. I don't really remember this, but this is what he told me. He said, and we told you that we couldn't support you anymore if you didn't support this provision. I said, well, sorry. I said, I just think it's the wrong thing to do. He said, I wanted to come back and tell you you were right. And so I wanted to share that with you, is that you need to have folks who can look clearly at a situation, and in spite of all the interest of your friends. These are my friends. These are pro-business folks. These are home builders. I mean, what greater entrepreneur is there out there than someone trying to build homes and say, you know what? You got too much government. You're too dependent. Even home builders and conservatives, unbeknownst, and this is what this question is driving at, become dependent upon government. In this case, Freddie and Fannie. As far as the mortgage deduction, I think that's probably the last thing we need to do right now, given the unsteadiness of home values, is to make them less valuable by taking away the home interest deduction. That may be something that we should think about, but it certainly would cause another. I mean, we're in a situation right now with housing prices. We could be, if we don't clean out the bad loans and the problems these banks have, and let the market wash itself out, which I don't see anything that this administration is allowing that to happen. If we don't we could be in a sick housing market for another 5 years. And certainly I can tell you the first thing I wouldn't do is this, because I just think it would be devastating to a sector of the economy that's already hurting, and it would hurt it more, and I just don't think that's a wise thing to do at this point.